for being with me today. I'm so excited to have you on here.
Thank you for inviting me, Lauren. This is so much fun. It's great to finally meet you.
Yes, it's so good. So, as people are watching, you might not know that Becky has recently been cast in Paul Bless Russell, and we are so excited to interview her today and ask her some great questions. But before we get started with the interview, I want to do you justice, just like I do everyone else. I want to give an amazing introduction for who you are. So, we're going to go ahead and start with that. So, Becky Bartlett is who I'm interviewing today. And Becky, she has been acting in film and television since 2016. But something I love about you, Becky, is that you live in Arkansas and you are currently acting as a president of this amazing nonprofit for women called Women in Film Arkansas. And so, not only as an actress, you also focus on that. You focus on film, television, commercial, and voice acting. So, for those of you watching, you might be saying, well, where can I see Becky? Or maybe where have I seen her? This autumn, Becky can specifically be seen in Micro's The Way I Heard It. And as well, she's been seen in multiple commercials, such as for HDTV, Dish, Ford, and Dodge. And she has been in the short film festival circuit as well. So, you can see her there. And what I'm excited to ask you about in a little bit is you are going to be a voice actor in a character of a classically animated series, which sounds so fun. She has received multiple nominations for her acting demo reels. She's even won a pitch for investment in an upcoming faith based film at the Content Media Conference. And then, last but not least, in her free time, Becky loves to watch movies with her family, exercise. And one of my favorite things about you, Becky, besides the fact that you're doing this amazing being a president is that you just serve at your church locally and you pour back into high school girls as a small group leader. And I love that so much. So thank you so much, Becky, for taking the time today and
Thank
meeting with
you.
me.
Well, that is quite the introduction. Thank you so much. I feel like that's it right
Well,
there.
they're all true things. They're all true
That's
things.
awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin on that. Yes, I did discover the love of acting, film, TV, all that good stuff as an adult. I had all of my kids, and it was interesting because I never grew up thinking about being an actress.
Wow.
I didn't even do school plays. It wasn't on my radar at all. However, in college, I went to Baylor University in Waco, Texas. My major was radio, TV, and film and speech. It was a double major, which made me a communication specialist.
Mhm.
And with that, I wanted to go into marketing. I just didn't want to get a business degree. I wanted to do the arts because that's how my brain is wired. So I was like, okay, what can I do to still do marketing but not have to do all the businessy stuff? So I did, but it's a kind of a full circle picture because I took all those history of film classes, and I learned how to run a TV news studio or be an anchor for a day or, those kinds of things that you just learn in college. A little bit of editing. It was more old fashioned back then, but you learn all that stuff and just, it was in my brain. I wasn't doing anything with it for years specifically. And then, as an adult, after I had all of my kids, I was kind of going through a little bit of a difficult season in my life. And I had a distant family member who was leading a workshop on specifically acting for film, like
Mhm.
not theater, but film and TV. And I thought, well, that's kind of just a fun, distracting thing to do for a weekend. I'll just hop in there and see what that's all about. Honestly, that's all it was. And I took this class. I was like, oh my goodness, wow, that's way harder than I thought it was. But I had incredible respect just right off the bat for the art of it all. Like not only memorizing your lines, but delivering them believably, uh,
Mhm.
you know, giving back to your scene partner, listening, all of that stuff, and being believable while remembering everything you need to remember. It's
Right.
like this is an incredible skill set. And I got bit by the bug and it went there. And I just deep dive, consuming all the information I can,
Mhm.
networked like crazy. I was blessed to be signed on with an Oklahoma and LA agent pretty early on. And so just kind of went from there and yeah, dabbled in some other areas of it as well. But
Oh, I
yeah.
love that so much. I love that you kind of like fell in love, like even though it was
Mhm.
later. And I think it's inspiration because sometimes we tell ourselves this lie, like, oh, when I get to a certain age, it's too late for me to try something new. And like you totally were like, no, like I'm gonna go dive into something that I'm passionate about. So I love that. That is so inspiring. So
It's never
tell
too
me,
late. It's never too late. I
it's
will
never
say
too
you never,
late. That's right. As long as we
yeah,
have breath in our lungs, it's never too late. Yeah.
that's right. So true.
But so tell me a little bit. I want to talk to you about you being the president of the nonprofit. Before that, I want to hear a little bit about voice acting. What is that like? That has to be a little bit different than like being on screens because you can't.
It is.
You have to focus just on your vocals to articulate emotion, and so not so much your face. So what is that like?
That is a great question. It's not just the term voice over, it's voice actor. And you said it correctly. I'm just letting the
Yeah,
viewers
no,
hear
that's great.
because voice acting really is still acting. So you
Hmm.
can't just walk into it and think, oh, they just need my voice. They don't really need, the actor and everything that comes with the full package. You do because it's cut to the raw voice, and you can tell if you're energetic or all of your emotions, if you're sad, if you're all of those different emotions that need to be carried through just through audio. And that's why a lot of voice actors will stand when they're delivering their lines so they can still be doing all this stuff and
Right.
really get the energy out that they need to in their lines. Yeah, I have really had fun with it. I'm currently the voice for our local hospital.
Okay, that's
So all
so
those,
cool.
yeah, those ads that are running, is my voice, and done some different commercial work that has aired throughout the years. And but yes, you had mentioned a classically animated series coming up.
Yes.
And I was cast actually about 2 years ago now, and it still hasn't happened yet. But that's because the animators are classically animating it,
That's so
and
cool.
yeah, it's going to be really awesome. And um, Michael Nicolosi is the director and one of the writers on that project. So talented, so talented. And so I'm going to be one of the lead characters in that. And it is faith based, but it is not in your face faith based.
Hmm.
That's hard to say.
Yeah.
To say that real fast, but it's about a family, and their last name is Miles, so it's a few good miles, and it's like a um, goodness, and an inspirational new Simpsons. It's about like different families, and so it's. I can't say too much more about it, but I'm really excited. So that'll be a lot.
Yeah. No, I figured you can't give us a lot, but that sounds so amazing and I'm
Yeah,
excited for it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think my girls, I have a 10 and an 8-year-old, and so for them to see like classically animated is completely different because so much is now computer generated. So I think that's so cool that you could be a part of that. So
yeah.
switching gears a little bit,
Mhm.
now, I mentioned that you are the president of this Women in Film Arkansas. So, it's, first of all, I want to read to everyone what the mission statement is because it's so like you read it and you're like, yes, I want to help. So, the mission statement there is to educate, empower, and inspire women to pursue careers in all areas of cinematic professions. So, with that being said, tell me, what does this organization mean to you personally?
Okay, yeah. Well, I think it's very necessary. I stand behind it 100%. It was founded in 2017 by, excuse me,
That's okay.
Angela, Angela Van Zant Bumpus, and she moved away to LA. She's actually married to Roger Bumpus. He is the voice of Squidward on
Okay.
SpongeBob. So sweet family, I love them. But anyways, Angela did all the legwork and getting it going as a nonprofit. So definitely appreciate her on that. But yes, I have been very blessed and honored to take on this position 3 years ago, and it's just an incredible network of women in Arkansas that just supports each other. We brag on each other. That's a huge part of what I do. Is I just post different things, and other people can post different things and just saying, hey, this person just got nominated for this, and this is a project that they're working on, and our website has a member roster with different links, and they can take you to, their IMDb page, or
Mhm.
if they have a small business or something that they want to
Yeah.
promote. And like you said, yes, we try to encourage and equip the women to pursue all facets of the film industry. So it could be acting, screenwriting, directing, um, anything. I mean, there are anything you can think of that has to do with it, producing even. And so we do that through workshops, just educational workshops. And that's education is our platform as a 501c3. And so it's really fun because we bring in people from all over the country. They could be in physical workshops or Zoom workshops, which is great technology. And, when we just try to open up these opportunities for people to maybe they hadn't been a script supervisor before, and now they
Mhm.
can hop into this workshop and see if it's for them. Or I've had lots of success stories that people who have actually gone off into a career from a workshop that we have hosted.
That's
And
amazing.
it's really cool. And we also have, students. And so we encourage students to be a part of it too, 16 and above. But also men, because we have a new chapter that I launched when I became president of Men Supporting Women in Film Arkansas. So they get to get in on the fun and, be a part of our workshops if they want to, and just be a part of our group. And
Mhm.
so we're not excluding them in that. We think it's a lot of fun that way. And but yeah, I'm going to be at a film festival in just a couple of days in Arkansas, in Fort Smith. I've been invited to be on a panel along with one of my board members. So I love that. I love getting out to different events and film festivals, and just kind of talking about what we do and encouraging people to pursue the creative arts in any way that they want to, and just trying to give them the tools that they can need to succeed, in this industry. It's not an easy industry, but we just try to support each other where we can.
And I
Yeah.
think that's so needed. I women supporting women is so important. Because I think there's a world where the enemy likes to tell us a lie that, like, oh, there's so many seats, there's only so many seats at the table and you have to fight each other to get there, and that's not true. And it doesn't matter if it's a film industry or whatever, the business world or ever. And so I love that it's so encouraging and supporting. And what an amazing success story that these women are, because of what you guys are doing, like, they're coming in and their eyes are being opened and they're like, oh, I just got launched into a whole career. How
Yeah.
beautiful of
Yeah.
that.
It's
It's
really
like a legacy. It's creating a legacy. I love
it's
that.
exciting. Yeah. And I think that there is a really positive air of camaraderie and support as opposed to the competitive little groups that can pop up. So Women
Right.
in Film Arkansas is huge about, stretching your hand across the aisle, finding
Mhm.
another organization, saying, hey, we're so happy that you guys are doing well with this. And there's another organization that just hosted, a fun 3-day event. And we were able to say, that's great. Let's promote that. Let's tell
Yes.
people to go get the tickets and go to your thing.
Mhm.
And so we're
Yeah.
really happy about that. It just fosters that support, and that's what we're all
Yes.
about.
I love that so much. And I did not know. So my background is not in film. I've been very forthcoming with everybody. I'm like, guys, I don't know anything about film. I have a whole different, I'm from the church world, but I did not know Arkansas was such a big hub where a lot of actors are. And so I kind of got involved with this project. And so I think that's so
Yeah.
neat. And I just love that so much. So my question for you then about that is, what are you hoping that this does for the future of women in film industry?
Yeah, well, I think, our tax incentives are improving, and Arkansas is gorgeous. It really is. And, our neighboring state, Oklahoma, has an amazing tax incentive. And I actually moved here from Oklahoma. And so a lot of the big pictures have been coming there over the years. But now they're starting to recognize us as well, which is exciting. And we've had some pretty good productions shot here. And there's a lot of different topography in Arkansas too. I mean, you've got all kinds of stuff. It's just
Yeah.
gorgeous. If you haven't visited, you need to come and visit. And the state parks are amazing. But yes, I am hoping that with this platform of education, that when the bigger productions do come, which they already are starting to do that everyone will be ready. We've got the talent, we've got the crew, we've got writers, we've got everything that needs to happen for this to support these bigger productions that are coming here. And on top of that, we can give a good tax incentive. And so that is improving all the time, and we appreciate that. We have a great film commissioner, Christopher Crane, and so he's working hard behind the scenes, and it's a good time. It's a good time to be here.
Yay, that's so great. I just love that. I just think it's so important educating each other, supporting each other. And then I love hearing what you're saying is like, and then we'll be ready. So when the time arises, like we're ready. It's not, oh, now I need to get ready. It's like, no, we've already done the work. So I like that so much. So you have been involved in multiple projects. I mentioned before some commercials, short film, all these different things. What has been one of your favorite projects that you've been a part of over the years?
Okay. Well, okay. I have like I can think of at least three that I want to hit on, but
Okay.
I'll just make it quick. Early on, when I was still living in Oklahoma, I started out as a background actor, and the cool thing about that was that it was a major production. And do you know who John Rhys Davies is? He
I don't, but that
he
might
was
be
in
somebody
like
somebody else.
yeah, the Indiana Jones movies. He was like the
Okay, okay,
sidekick guy, and he was also the dwarf in the Lord of the Rings
okay.
movies.
Mhm.
Okay, Gimli. Anyway, so he was a main character in this, and my job as a featured extra was to run down this hallway. And I was a brand new actress, you have to keep that in mind. Run down this hallway and physically run into him. And and if you've been around film sets at all, it's not just a one and done take. You're gonna
Right.
do that same scene, and 5, 6 times in a row. And oh my goodness, with his booming voice, he's like, "My darling, you are doing fantastic. Are you okay?" I keep on running into you. You are doing fantastic. And I was like, "Oh, you're talking to me. This is amazing." And so that was my fun little brush with fame, but slam into fame, I guess you could say. So that was just a fun moment, just to kind of launch everything. I don't really do the background work anymore, but I do recommend, if someone's getting into acting, that they start with that. It's fun. It's neat to see, what a set is like and how it functions, and especially those bigger projects, you can kind of see the bigger names. So that's neat. Yeah, and then I was a main supporting role in a film that still has yet to come out, but it was about the father of film, Edward Muybridge, and it was such a neat project to be a part of. It's a period piece, and it was taking place in like 1890s, and they shot it on real film, not
Wow.
digital. And it was actually a handheld camera, and they wanted to keep it as true to everything as possible, so that when you see it on the final screen, it's going to have that look, like
Yeah.
and the father of film is the one you see, like the running horse. I don't know if you've okay,
Yes.
he's the one that was able to photograph the horse, and it was because the governor of California at the time wanted to know if all four of the horse's feet were ever touching at the same time. And so Edward Muybridge got his camera and tried to, check it out to see if, and the answer is there's a time where they are all off the ground. But anyway, and that because of that, those series of photographs that they put together, he was able to come up with the first moving picture camera.
Oh, cool.
And it's really neat how that whole thing, and then the story is phenomenal. It was really cool to be a part of that project. But it was neat because here I was acting with my scene partner, who was Edward Muybridge, and then the camera guy had his handheld film camera in his hand, going around us, circular, and it was almost matrixy in an 1890s way.
Wow.
So
That
it was
sounds
it
so
was
fun.
really cool. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a really cool experience. And then the last one I'll bring up was just last fall. As you had mentioned, I'm going to be on one of the episodic episodes of Mike Rowe's The Way I
Mhm,
Heard It,
mhm,
and that it's going to be airing soon. But I just was blown away by the set, the professionalism of the team, and that was my first time to have a trailer. In fact, I walked up. I didn't know I was going to get a trailer. I walked up and I was asking the people who were sitting on the chairs. I was like, do you know where I'm supposed to go? Like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. And they're like, I think you're like in that thing right there. I was like, oh, that's cool. So it was humbling. It was just to be a part of that project. I'm excited. And then they got to age me up. I'm not gonna say any more about it, but I did get to play two different vast ages, and so it was
Oh,
neat. I
okay.
had a hair person and a makeup person, and they were doing major stuff to me. So that's gonna be fun to share.
That is so fun. I can't wait to see all those projects that you're
Yeah,
mentioning. Like, I'll have to
thank
be
you.
on the lookout for them. That's so exciting. So, with all that being said, like, I'd love to hear, like, in such a short amount of time, because really 2016 wasn't that far long ago. So, like, that you've really dove into, like, you've been a part of some really cool stuff. But what led you to this project with us at Paul the Last Apostle?
Yeah, well, my very favorite are the faith-based projects. I do take secular projects as well. I think those relationships are super important, and of course, I have my boundaries in place. But I love stories of redemption and hope, and faith-based. That's even better. So I heard about the project, and so I was following you guys on Instagram and Facebook, and
Mhm.
then I finally saw a casting call for us ladies. This is for
Yes.
the ladies. And so I was like, yes, that's awesome. So I did submit, and I heard back from Oscar, the
Yeah.
writer, and he was very kind and seemed amenable to bringing me on to at least audition.
Mhm.
Then another project came my way. The end of the story is that it fell through, but I will tell you, it would have been the biggest thing I had ever been a part of. And I told Oscar, I was like, I'm so sorry. It looks like these dates, if I land it, are going to conflict. And that whole season was, and it just happened, but it was quite the learning experience because they brought me back 4 times in
Wow.
5 weeks. And it was a major production. I had to sign an NDA. And I basically got the role. It would have had me gone in a different state for like 5 weeks. I basically got the role. They said after hundreds of people and all these callbacks, we think you're it, but we're just gonna make sure. And well, the studio stepped in and they brought in, I believe, someone else. And I don't know those details, and that's fine. And I wish them all the well, and I'm going to watch it, and that's going to be great. But I got back to Oscar, and I was like, Oscar, is there still an opening because this other thing has fallen through? And he said, yes, come to the table read, and that will be your audition. And so that was really cool because he texted me during the table read, and he goes, it's yours. So
That's
I'll never
so
forget that.
cool.
It
I
was
love that.
very cool. I was honored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. I mean, I hate to hear that about your other project, but I guess God always has a plan, and so I guess this, maybe that wasn't it, but this one is. So
Right.
our game. Now they're lost. Our game.
Well, I will interject here, and I do bathe everything in prayer. God, if it's not in your will, then just close the door and help me to be at peace with it, because that's the
Yeah.
tough part. You're like,
Yes.
oh my goodness. But I was surprisingly at peace with it,
Mhm.
and so I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah,
But
I was
then this
go ahead.
happened. And I was like, okay, well, I kind of see the bigger picture now. So that's awesome. So I'm so excited, very honored.
I'm so glad that you're here. I just think as an actor, actress, it's probably very difficult because I would think for me, I'm a graphic designer. I do like arts in a different way. And
Yeah.
so or a videographer. And so when I do something and then somebody has to critique or they don't like it or they reject it, I know like it's almost hard not to like feel a little crushing because you put your heart, your soul into it. And so I'm sure as an actor, that's when you get rejected, you guys know that's part of the game. But I'm sure, especially when you have your heart set on like a project, I'm sure
Yeah.
it can have the opportunity, like you're saying, to be a little spirit crushing. But hearing you say, "Hey, like I had peace because this is how I like a H like."
Yeah.
I think that's something we can all take into our lives. Is like there's always a plan. God, whether you believe in God or not, like there's a plan for our lives, and so sometimes He just knows better than we do. So
Oh my
I,
goodness. Yeah. And I would rather not get the role. And, if it were my will and I was outside of God's will and going down this path without him, I don't want to be there. It's
yeah,
a scary place to be. I want his blessing on whatever I do.
yes.
And
Mhm.
so, yeah, because of that, I was disappointed, but because of that, I was able to have peace about it. And now I'm able to be a part of this amazing project. But, you bring up rejection. And I think that that's an incredible topic to tap into for actors, but for every facet of the film industry, like what you're talking about too. But that's something even as an adult, like you
Mhm.
really do have to know the thing with this industry is it is not rejecting you as a human being, obviously, but it feels like
Of
that.
course.
It's like, oh,
Yes.
I just gave you my heart and soul.
Yes.
It's, well, you weren't right for this role. But if you're getting invited to audition again and again, maybe even for the same casting director, that's a
Mhm.
good thing. They're like, there's something with this person. We're gonna find the right role for them,
Mhm.
but maybe they're too tall for their scene partner. Maybe, their hair color isn't right. Whatever it is. And and then to go back to what we were talking about earlier, be ready. So I'm constantly keeping up my skills and learning new skills all the time. I'm even taking, improv when I can, or, just
Mhm.
different kinds of the acting. I took a comedy I was with a comedy coach recently, a dialect coach recently, working on a
Mhm.
different accent. There's just so many things you can do to keep yourself ready and well rounded. And
Mhm.
then when a project does come along, then you can make yourself more competitive. And if it's in God's will, if you're bathing it in prayer, then great, hopefully
Yeah.
everything aligns. Yeah. So,
What a great encouragement to somebody. I hope somebody who's watching, if they're interested in acting or they are actors, maybe that was very encouraging to me, because it's like it is easy for us to feel rejected as a human, and it's like, or you're, whatever. It's like, no, it's just opportunity to grow, it's opportunity to learn. And it wasn't, and it's okay. Like, it's okay. And like
so
you said, a lot of times, if someone likes you for something, like, ask. I think that's a good thing too. Is like, if they'll allow you to ask, like, hey, what could I have done better, or what are you looking for next time, or whatever. And those questions, I think, always, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an interview for
yeah.
like a job, just a normal job,
Yeah.
or I feel like, yeah, I think you always can learn from people. And so but I think that's great advice for anyone, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
um so being cast as Nur is, in,
Mhm.
my question for you is, and I've read this much of the script, because I was reading through it and I was like, oh, I maybe I'll show up to a table read. I don't know. I think I would like to
Mhm.
hear you guys reading through it.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about Nur. I don't know much about her character at all, but like, whether it's for Nur or whoever, what goes through your mind as you're preparing to go into like a project like this? Like, how are you preparing yourself as an actor to get into character?
Okay. Well, this actress, well, I mean, this character
Mhm.
has more of a Hebrew accent, so I had already worked on that, so I do feel prepared in that area.
Mhm.
But besides that, I'm going to approach her like I do anyone else, and that's
Mhm.
just I mean, she's a real human being. I
Mhm.
think she was written for this story, but for the purpose of this story, I'm going to view her as, an actual human being who was feeling these emotions and
Mhm.
feelings at this time. And, I can't imagine the intimidation that the new Christians were feeling
Mhm.
with Saul, who became Paul, who was a Christian. He used to persecute the Christians, and
Yeah.
now he is evangelizing. But not everybody got that memo right at the beginning, right? And
Right.
so it was,
Yeah.
excuse me, very scary and intimidating to think we can't trust this person.
Right.
we should be fearful of this person. So those are some baseline human emotions that
Mhm.
are, we can all relate to, and that I will definitely be tapping into as Nur. And so yeah, I'm going to approach her like I would any character. First gonna, knock out the lines, make sure I know the lines really well so that I can just throw them away. And what
Right.
I mean by that is I'm no longer trying to remember my lines. I know
Right.
them. They're in me. And now I'm going to be reacting to my scene partner. Now I'm going to be
Mhm.
reacting to what's happening in the moment. And I will be Nur. And I will be in this scenario where now we have some fear. Now we have some worry. Now, everything is in disarray. And what do we do? So yeah, I'm going to approach it just like I would any character that way. Learn the lines, feel the moment, feel the emotions that that character would be feeling in those scenarios. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's been interesting as I've been interviewing certain actors. Everybody's got their own little way of like connecting to their character. And so I love hearing like your process of like, hey, I got to get the lines in first, because if I don't know the lines, then I'm going to be not focusing on my emotion and focus on the lines. So yeah. And
Right.
then just tapping into her. And I love what you said. We've said it so many times. I think what I love about this series is we are taking people that we read in the Bible, right? And we've
Mhm.
read them, and it's so easy to read, I think, your Bible without human emotion and forget that these people were real people, with real
Yeah.
problems, and
Right.
they had to have this transformation through Jesus. And so I love that you're like, hey, I'm going in this as a real person, and with real things. And I love that this series, for me personally, is going to be doing that. It's going to be taking real people and making it this story that we've read, that we love so much,
Mhm.
come to life. So, with that being said, like, what are you most excited about with this series? Like, what are some things you're looking forward to?
Yeah, well, on the heels of the success of The Chosen, which we all love, right? I
Right.
think it's so exciting because people have a hunger for let's hear more characters of the Bible. And I love what The Chosen did in, like what you said, making them relatable and like,
Yes.
okay, wow, I can visualize that disciple maybe even looks like that. But yeah, they had that little quirkiness about them. But okay, so we've got that success going on, and that's exciting, and we can support that. But what
Hmm.
else can we do? What other series can we create? And what other, characters of the Bible can we really focus in on them? And Paul, oh my goodness,
Hmm.
that's an amazing one. To
Right.
really just dive into his huge transformation and everything he was able to do. I mean, there are so many inspirational thoughts that we have in the Bible, and people by default think that they need to do works in order to be right with God, right? And
Yes.
that just flies in the face of the truth of what it is. And the truth
That's
of the
right.
matter is,
Yes.
no, we're saved by grace and faith and not our own works, because
That's right.
otherwise we would boast and get a big head. And it's paraphrasing, but but anyway, I mean, there are so many amazing truths, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see where this series goes, and how many people it can really hit home with, and they can start relating to Paul maybe in a more personal way. They see it played out on TV, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, it's the Bible coming to life in terms of film, and I love that the Lord is able to use this media for
Mhm.
His glory. And He gives us talents in different ways, and mine just happens to be acting. And what a perfect alignment that I can be a part of this project that tells this inspirational story. And another thing about Paul, which is very relatable to all of us, is that what a deplorable human being he was first, right? And all the things that
Mhm.
he did, yet
Right.
God used him.
Mhm.
And God can use those people who don't feel equipped to do a job. He can use criminals. He can use
Yes.
terrible, terrible situations. And he does again and again. In fact, over the whole Bible, that is the theme.
Right.
He can use anyone. All you have to do is just be willing to be used, and have faith and be ready, and it's important to walk with him every day, abide with him, and, learn more and more. But you don't have to be you don't have to be a professor in theology to be able to have a discussion with someone. You just have to be willing to be put in the path with someone, and let the Holy Spirit lead you.
Yes, I love that. And as you were saying all that, I recently heard my pastor. He said, the word condemn or like it means, a form of it means to be unfit for use. And you're saying all this about Paul, and I'm just imagining him pinning in Romans, there's therefore now no condemnation in those who are in
Mhm.
Christ Jesus. And so he's saying, I am no longer unfit for use. I'm fit for use, even though I've done what I've done. And so as you were saying that, I'm just imagining him as he wrote that, like what that meant for him. I'm
Right,
not unfit for use. God wants to use me despite what I did. Oh, what grace. Has
right.
been lavished on him. So yes, I think that's what's so cool about Paul is like he's so relatable to all of us, and then all the people he touches are then relatable to us as well.
Yeah,
So yes, it's powerful. It's
yeah.
going to be amazing. I'm excited myself. um so with that being said, like if someone's not heard about us, because we're hoping and praying, we're raising funds, we're needing this to happen. This is a crowd funded thing. This isn't like we're partnered with some huge production team and
Right.
they're just giving us all the money. We are needing people. What are you wanting to say to people who might come across this because of they might know you or whatever, and they're hearing about this project for the first time? Like, what do you want to say to them to help support and to, help us make this happen.
Yeah. I would say if you are tired of the message that your kids are seeing on TV through basic Hollywood shows, then support ones that have a positive message. And Paul, the last apostle, definitely will. And so I think it is important to not only verbally support, but put your dollars behind productions that actually have a positive message, and can actually change lives for eternity. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, right? So I would highly encourage people to go ahead and support a program like this, and others as well too. I mean, like what we were talking about earlier, where we support other people too. We can be cheerleaders for other productions, and but yes, we would totally appreciate support on this. And music that our kids listen to, TV shows that they watch, they are just, and stream, TikTok and all of that stuff too. There's just so many things that are bombarded, and not
Yes.
just kids, adults. We are all bombarded by these messages all the time that are not they're not good. And it has just it's just gotten worse all the time. And I would say, it's good to take a stand. It's good to find these productions that that are the opposite of that and will have an eternal outcome. And so, yes, put your dollars there. That's what I would say.
Yes. Yes. No, I love that. It's so true. My church, we're in the middle of getting ready to fast for a 5-day revival. And something that was brought up last night is like, what is the noise that's affecting your affection for God and for Jesus? And I think what you're speaking at is, yes, some things could be bad and some things could be okay. But my question, I think we have to ask ourselves as followers of Jesus is like, is this turning my affection toward God, or is it turning me away from him? And I think that's what's so cool about this project. It's definitely going to be turning your affection toward him.
Yes.
There's no turning away. It's like this is something that you can watch together as a family. You don't have to
Right.
worry about what's going to be said or what's not going to be said. And then on top of that, like you were saying, there's eternal significance here. And so
Yeah.
why would you not want to support something that's internally significant?
Right. That's so true. And not everything out there, of course, is bad, but is it, necessarily good? Is it something that you should be spending your time watching? Because we only have so many hours during the day, right? And we can just numb out. I don't
Yes.
think we're supposed to numb out. I think we're supposed to
Mhm.
be purposeful with our time. It's good to have some
Yeah.
relaxation time. That's not what I'm saying. But it's important to also carve out time to watch things that are good for your mind and your spirit, and
Mhm.
listen to things that are good for your mind and your spirit, and specifically Christ pointing. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Yep. Well, Becky, I've enjoyed our time together. Gosh, we've talked about so much. We've talked about being a new actor to like rejection to, supporting like this amazing project and what it's been like for you to join us. So, thank you so much today for taking time. I'm so excited about being on set with you guys, and I am so excited about just watching your character come to life. So, for those of you watching, you can find out more at going to our website at paulthelastapostle.com. We're on Facebook, obviously. If you're watching this, we're on Instagram, we have YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on all the places. So make sure that you're following us. But more importantly than that, I'm going to end with this. Please support it. Put your money behind where you say you believe. If we believe, we have to like show it. And so help us make this happen. We want to make this happen. We need people like this amazing woman, Becky. She's here, like excited about her. We want to see her, on film. So make this happen, make the series happen. And again, Becky, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, and it'll be fun to see you in person next time. That'll be great.
Yes. Yes. I'm all the way over here in Georgia. You're in Arkansas. We'll meet in
Yeah.
Texas, and it's going to be great.
Awesome. It'll be fun.
So
Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun.
it's been great. So we will see